Lift a lid at a Roman banquet, and you might meet your appetizer's eyes. Sip the wine, and you're tasting a dessert, plus a dash of heavy metal. And yes, that really is flamingo tongue. For the next 15 minutes, we're counting down 10 real Roman foods so bizarre they'd be illegal, or at least shut down by a modern health inspector, today. The last one, let's just say it crosses a line you didn't know existed. Stick around. Welcome to Ancient Civilizations Discovered, where we dig up the past and try not to gag. Romans turned food into flex, rare, risky, and sometimes morally unseasoned. No animal welfare, no FDA, just appetite, status, and the eternal question, but have the peasants tried this? Tonight's menu is 10 dishes the Roman elite bragged about that would earn you fines, protests, or handcuffs now. Think of it as a tasting flight of culinary red flags, paired with a crisp, modern absolutely not. Number 10. Garum, sun-baked fish gut sauce. Meet Rome's favourite condiment. Garum, made by stacking fish intestines and whole minnows with rock salt, then letting it marinate in daylight until the gods, or bacteria, said done. After weeks of basking under a murder sun, they strained the liquid into amphorae and sold it like perfume. People poured it on everything: cabbage, lamb, oysters, even dormice. It's umami with a side of, are we sure? For Romans, garum wasn't gross. It was a sign your kitchen had reach. Chefs bragged about vintages the way sommeliers do today. Garum from this coast, that fishery, aged this long. The cheaper dregs went to soldiers. The top shelf stuff cost a small fortune and smelled like it. Today, you can safely ferment fish sauce in sanitary tanks. What you can't do is slow cook a fly spa in the town square and call it artisanal. Open air rot, aerosolized innards, zero temperature control. Your inspector would sprint at you with a clipboard and a restraining order. But be honest, if no one told you and it was in a cute bottle with a handwritten label, would you dip bread in it? Number 9. Lead-laced wine, sweet as a lawsuit. Romans loved sweet wine but lacked sugar. Their solution? Boil grape must into sapar, often in lead pots to concentrate the flavour and give sauces that glossy restaurant sheen. Chemistry did its cruel magic. Lead acetate, sweet, silky, and very good at ruining your nervous system. Elite palates adored it. Brains, not so much. There are ancient complaints about heavy heads and clouded minds, which is a poetic way to say, my wine is trying to kill me. In 2025, adding lead to food gets you banned, sued, and rebranded as Exhibit A. There are entire regulatory libraries dedicated to keeping metal out of mouths. Want sweetness? We have honey, sugar, and about 1 million syrups that don't cause organ failure. Romans called it flavour. We call it felony. Sommeliers note: plum, oak, and irreversible poor choices. If your favourite wine guaranteed a hangover and memory loss, would you still give it 5 stars for mouthfeel? Number 8. Stuffed dormice. Luxury rodent tapas. Nothing says, I'm richer than you, like bespoke rodents. Romans kept dormice in gliraria, special jars with little ledges to make the mice run in circles and fatten up on nuts and grains. When plump enough to qualify as a status symbol, they were stuffed with minced pork, herbs, and pine nuts, then glazed with honey and sprinkled with poppy seeds. Served on silver naturally, because if you're making your guests eat a rodent, at least give them a reflective surface to confront their decisions. Why it shock bans today? Protected species in many countries, animal welfare nightmares, biohazard vibes, and PR so bad your restaurant would close before dessert. Even Rome tried to curb the excess now and then. Spoilers, money won. Could you eat one? Maybe. Could you post it? Not unless you enjoy becoming a villain in 8 countries simultaneously. Also say rodent charcuterie out loud and see if you still have friends. Number 7. Sow's womb and udder. Offal that cancels restaurants. From Apicius, the Roman cookbook your stomach warned you about. Poach sow's womb with pepper, mint and vinegar. Slice and serve with a tangy reduction. Or crisp sow's udder in fat until golden and bathe it in sweet sour sauce. Texture? Let's file it under acquired, potentially by force. Romans loved offal, not just because it was available, but because it screamed kitchen mastery. Give a chef the weirdest cut and watch them conjure prestige from pathology. Modern collision. Organ meats are legal. Chefs serve heart, liver, sweetbreads, no problem. What's not? Building a supply chain for uterus at scale without detonating welfare rules, labelling laws, and the internet. Picture your licensing hearing. And your proposed procurement plan for the wombs? Case closed. Are you team nose to tail or nope to tail? Because this one tests the limits of both. Number 6. Flamingo tongue, pretty in pink, ethically extinct. When chicken bored them, Romans, following gourmet icon Apicius, served flamingo and prized the tongue. Boiled in aromatics, spiced with pepper and cumin, finished with dates and vinegar, arranged like the world's most expensive flour. The logic was simple. Rarity equals status. Tongue equals, ooh, special cut. Flamingo equals, someone get a poet, we're making history. Now the law. Wildlife protection, anti-poaching, and exactly 0 legitimate suppliers. You don't order flamingos. You confess to a crime. Even if a farm existed, it doesn't. The cultural explosion would melt your brand into a puddle. Also, imagine the Yelp reviews. They murdered my childhood lawn ornament. 1 star, bread was fine. Would you try a bite? Or would you stage a rescue mission mid-course? If this menu already feels illegal, wait for number 1. The Romans' most shocking delicacy wasn't rare or toxic, it was unborn. Keep going. Number 5. Peacock and friends. Instagrammable, prosecutable. Peacock sat at the top of Rome's edible pecking order. Meat, eggs, even tongues, because of course the tongues. For the big reveal, cooks sometimes redressed the cooked bird in its iridescent train, so your dinner looked fabulous while it haunted your sleep. This is plating as performance art, and also as a cry for help. Why it'd crash in 2025? Protections on ornamental birds in many jurisdictions, sourcing that screams, don't, and hygiene officers fainting at the phrase, we put the feathers back. It's like sprinkling asbestos for texture, eye-catching, legally ruinous. Even if you could source peafowl ethically from a farm, some countries do, redressing a carcass in feathers over food is a cleanliness nightmare. The only thing you'd be serving is court dates. Admit it, the reveal would be stunning. Right up until your audience becomes a jury. Number 4. Songbird skewers. The original illegal tapas. Tiny birds, big trouble. Romans speared thrushes, fig peckers, sparrows, and roasted them crisp. Head, feet, and the kind of hubris that pairs well with reduced wine sauce. A single skewer might hold several birds because half the point was showing you could command an army of small, fragile things to die for your appetizer. Poets called them dainty bites. Everyone else called them please stop crunching the skull. Modern fallout. Migratory bird treaties, wildlife laws, and the collective fury of birders everywhere. Even France banned ortolan, and France will eat things. Capture, trade, and sale of protected songbirds? Absolutely not. And even where it's technically possible, do you really want to be the headline, local chef overcomes ethics, loses soul? Crunchy or criminal? There is a correct answer. Number 3. Exotic beast banquet. Giraffe, steak and camel heel. Archaeology in Pompeii turned up a butchered giraffe bone tossed with kitchen trash. Meanwhile, Imperial rumour loved camel heels. Those gelatinous, springy cuts that make your guests say, "What is that?" and then pretend to enjoy it because you're paying for dinner. Rome's elite treated the empire like a pantry. If it existed, you could import it. If you could import it, you could brag about eating it. Why? It'd be illegal today. Giraffes are protected. Trafficking their meat is a legal neutron bomb. Camel meat exists in some cuisines, but heel as a novelty flex. That's a ticket to the cultural penalty box, and probably a courtroom. Unless you can prove ethical sourcing and a reason that isn't, "I wanted to feel special." From the circus to the saucepan was not a wholesome supply chain then. It's a documentary indictment now. Would you eat a bite if it came with a side of extinction? Number 2, force-fed goose liver. Proto-foie gras. Romans discovered that overfeeding geese, often with figs, made livers luscious and spreadable. Luxury was creamy, and cruelty came on toast points. They likely didn't call it foie gras, but the blueprint is there. Gorge the bird, harvest the organ, serve to applause. It's the oldest trick in fine dining. Convert discomfort into texture, then drown it in a jam and charge extra. Modern reality. In many places, force feeding is banned, foie gras sales are restricted, import blocked, or menus struck by law. Chefs argue about methods. City councils pass legislation. Diners argue with each other in the comments. You can love the taste and still recognize the process. Trips, legal wires and moral tripwires. Gourmet or gross? City councils have opinions. Do you? And more importantly, does your jurisdiction? Number 1. Loris's unborn rabbit delicacy. And here's the line. Lorises were fetal or newborn rabbits, taken from a pregnant doe and cooked whole. The dish shows up in Roman writing with the kind of casual horror that suggests this was a flex, not a staple, a way to prove your table went where others wouldn't. Shock cuisine as social currency. Tiny, hairless, tender, and utterly indefensible. The Romans didn't have our ethical framework. They had appetite and a competitive streak a mile wide. Lorises were the culinary mic drop. Today, wall-to-wall animal cruelty violations. Food safety red flags the size of the Colosseum. No jurisdiction signs off on fetus entree. Even discussing it in a modern kitchen would make your legal team start drinking at noon. Try it and you'll be trending under #ArrestedChef with a guest cameo from your town's angriest people and all their pets. Not everything ancient needs a comeback. This can stay very, very extinct. Could you survive a Roman dinner party? Only if you enjoy heavy metals, wildlife crimes and organ roulette. The empire ate to flex, shock and one up. We eat to, live. It's tempting to romanticize ancient feasts, candles, marble, a poet reciting while the harpist plays. But once the lids come off, you realize laws and ethics didn't just change the menu, they saved it. We kept the olive oil, wine and bread. We gently retired the rodent tapas and the lead syrup. Which dish broke you? Garum shots? Dormouse canapé? Flamingo tongue tartare? Drop your nope in the comments. And if you try one, explain yourself like a senator under oath. Hit like, subscribe, and ring the bell for more What Were They Thinking? History. Next time we'll eat with a civilization that believed dinner should be hot, hearty, and not a criminal offence. Until then, may your condiments be safe, your birds unendangered, and your wine proudly lead-free.